The last few years have been a real wake-up call, haven't they? They've shown us just how shaky our supply chains and power grids actually are. It's not really a question of if a disaster will strike anymore, but when. Just recently, the Department of Energy put out some sobering reports. They warned that the risk of power outages could go up dramatically by 2030 because the gap between our demand for electricity and the reliable supply is getting wider. Now, it's worth noting that some experts disagree with their models, arguing that renewables and new storage tech will fill that gap. But the warning is out there. We've all seen how fast shelves can go bare and just how vulnerable we are when the systems we count on every single day just stop. When a crisis hits, emergency services get overwhelmed in a heartbeat, and you're on your own. The time to get ready is now, before the disaster, not during the panic. In this video, I'm cutting through all the noise to give you a clear, no-nonsense list of the 10 most critical items you need to stockpile to protect your family. This isn't about scaring you. It's about taking smart, responsible steps so you can have some peace of mind in a pretty uncertain world. Let's get into it. First on the list, and without a doubt the most critical thing for survival, is water. You can last for weeks without food, but you've only got a few days without water. It's not just for drinking. You need it for cooking and basic hygiene. The rule of thumb is at least 1 gallon of water per person per day. A 3-day supply is the absolute minimum, but if you want to sleep well at night, you should be aiming for a 2-week supply or even more. The reason it's so critical is pretty obvious, right? In any disaster, a hurricane, an earthquake, a grid down event, the water from your tap can get contaminated or shut off completely. We've seen in past emergencies that finding clean water becomes an immediate, life-threatening problem. Thinking you can just run to the store for bottled water is a short-term plan at best. Those stores will be empty in hours. So here's the pro tip. Start by stockpiling commercially bottled water. It's sealed, safe, and ready when you need it. But for true long-term preparedness, you need a renewable way to get water and a way to make it safe. This means you need a solid water filtration system. Look at high-quality filters like a Berkey for your home, or portable ones like the Sawyer Squeeze or a Life Straw for your go-bags. As a backup to your filters, you should also have water purification tablets. They're tiny, last forever, and can treat a lot of water, making them a must-have. And don't forget about storage. Food-grade water bricks or big 55-gallon barrels let you store a large amount of water safely for a long time. Next up at number 2 is non-perishable food. Once your water is handled, your next priority is calories. A crisis is not the time to go on a diet. Your body will be stressed out and it needs energy to function, stay warm, and do what needs to be done. You need food that doesn't need a fridge, takes little to no cooking, and will last for years. Shoot for a 3-day supply to start, but a 3-month supply is a much stronger goal. It's critical because we see the same thing happen in every crisis. Grocery store shelves get stripped bare within hours of the first sign of panic. That just-in-time delivery system that keeps our stores stocked is incredibly fragile. Any hiccup in transportation, fuel shortages, storms, you name it, and the food deliveries stop. Being without food adds a ton of mental stress and physical weakness, making it almost impossible to handle everything else. So for your pro tip, let's talk about a layered food strategy. Your first layer should be a 3-month supply of the stuff your family already eats. Think canned chicken, veggies, fruit, soups, pasta, rice, peanut butter. The key is to store what you eat and eat what you store. This way, nothing goes to waste, and you're eating familiar foods during a stressful time. Your second layer is your long-term supply. For this, you want bulk staples with a 20 to 30-year shelf life. We're talking white rice, dried beans, rolled oats, and pasta. To store these correctly, you have to use Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers inside of sealed food-grade 5-gallon buckets. This is what protects your food from oxygen, light, moisture, and pests. Don't forget about morale-boosting comfort foods either. Things like coffee and tea and hard candy can make a huge difference when things are tough. Number 3 is a solid first aid kit and a stock of any necessary medications. In a real disaster, that 911 system you count on might just go silent. Hospitals will be swamped, and getting help for even a serious injury could be impossible. A small cut that gets infected can suddenly become a life-threatening problem in a world without easy access to doctors. This is critical because your family's health is everything. The risk of getting hurt goes up way up in an emergency. You might be clearing debris, chopping wood, or just moving around in the dark. Plus, all that stress weakens your immune system, making you more likely to get sick. And for anyone who relies on prescription meds, being cut off from a pharmacy is a truly dangerous situation. So, here's the pro tip. Don't just grab a basic first aid kit off the shelf. Build your own, or at least beef up a pre-made one. You need to be ready for real trauma. That means having things like tourniquets, chest seals, and pressure dressings, and knowing how to use them. Stock a full range of over-the-counter meds, painkillers, anti-diarrhea pills, allergy medicine, and hydrocortisone cream. For prescriptions, talk to your doctor, explain you're trying to be prepared, and ask if you can get an extra month or 2 of supply. Some are very understanding. And think beyond the basics. Get things like sterile eye wash, burn gel, medical tape, trauma shears, and a splint. Organize it all in a bag that's clearly labeled and easy to grab. Your medical kit is no place to cut corners. Coming in at number 4 sounds almost too simple, but it's an absolute game changer: a manual can opener and off-grid cooking supplies. You could have a basement packed with canned food, but if the power's out and your only can opener is electric, you've just got a room full of useless metal cylinders. It's a tiny detail that can have huge consequences. Why is this so critical? Well, getting into your food is just the first part. You have to be able to cook it. A lot of emergency foods, like rice and beans, have to be cooked. Even with canned goods, a hot meal can do wonders for morale and help you stay warm. Relying on your electric stove or microwave is a recipe for failure. When the grid goes down, your modern kitchen basically becomes a museum. So, for the pro tip, buy at least 2 or 3 good quality manual can openers. Those little military P38 or P51 openers are fantastic. They're nearly indestructible and small enough to live on your keychain. For cooking, you've got options. A simple propane or butane camping stove is a great place to start. Just make sure you stockpile plenty of fuel canisters for it. For a more sustainable option, look into a wood-burning rocket stove or even just a good charcoal grill. And in this scenario, cast iron is your best friend. A skillet and a Dutch oven can be used on a camp stove, a grill, or an open fire. They're built like tanks and hold heat like nothing else. Being able to cook food and boil water without power is a cornerstone of being truly prepared. At number 5, we've got lighting and alternative power. We are so used to living in a world of artificial light and constant electricity. When the grid fails, the darkness is total and completely disorienting. Simple tasks become hard and dangerous, and every device we rely on, from our phones to medical equipment, starts a countdown to a dead battery. As those Department of Energy reports suggest, the strain on our grid is growing, which just increases the risk of longer and more widespread outages. This is critical because a lack of light just stops you in your tracks and adds a ton of risk. People trip and fall. You can't see what you're cooking, read instructions, or check on your property. Beyond light, our dependence on power is a massive vulnerability. Communication, information, you name it, it all relies on electricity. Losing it isolates you and puts you at a serious disadvantage. So, pro tip, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Your first line of defense should be high-quality LED flashlights and headlamps for everyone in the family, plus a huge stash of extra batteries. Keep your batteries in a cool, dry place and rotate them. Candles are fine for backup ambient light, but you have to be incredibly careful with the fire risk. For power, a small portable solar charger is a non-negotiable for keeping phones and other small USB devices charged. This lets you stay in touch and access downloaded info. For a bigger solution, a portable power station, sometimes called a solar generator, paired with solar panels can be a game changer. These can run small appliances, medical devices, and communication gear for a long time, and they do it silently and without fumes. If you do go with gas generators, you must have a safe way to store fuel and a plan to run it outdoors, far away from any windows.
All right, we're halfway through the list. If you're getting some real value out of this and you want to learn more about how to protect your family and become more self-reliant, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about practical, no-nonsense advice to help you get through these uncertain times. Your support helps us make more videos just like this one. Now, let's get back to the list. Moving on to number 6, communication devices. When a disaster hits, information is one of your most valuable resources. What's happening? Are there areas to avoid? Is help on the way? At the same time, you need to be able to talk to your family or group to coordinate and stay safe. Cell networks are famous for being the first thing to fail in a crisis, either from damaged towers or just from being completely overloaded. This is critical for 2 reasons. First, receiving information. Without news and emergency broadcasts, you are flying blind. You won't know about evacuation orders or weather alerts. This is where a NOAA weather radio is an absolute lifeline. It brings you critical alerts straight from the National Weather Service. Second, sending information. Being able to talk with your people, even over short distances, is a huge advantage. It lets you coordinate plans, call for help, or just check in. Here's the pro tip. You need more than one way to communicate. Start with an emergency radio that's hand-cranked and solar-powered and can pick up AM, FM, and most importantly, the NOAA weather bands. Many of these also have a built-in flashlight and a USB port to give your phone a little juice. For two-way communication, a set of GMRS or ham radios is the next logical step. GMRS radios have a much better range than the walkie-talkies you buy at a department store, and one inexpensive license covers your whole family. Ham radio requires a test to get licensed, but it opens up the ability to communicate over huge distances. There are also great off-grid options like mesh-tastic devices that let you send texts and GPS data over long distances with no cell service at all. Having these tools ensures you can get life-saving information and talk to the people who matter most. Number 7 is one of the most overlooked areas, but it's critically important: sanitation and hygiene. In a long-term disaster, a breakdown in sanitation can let diseases spread like wildfire. Things we never think about, like flushing a toilet or washing our hands with running water, will likely be gone. History shows that in the aftermath of a major crisis, disease often kills more people than the initial event. Why is this so critical? Without a way to deal with human waste, it piles up, attracts pests, and contaminates everything, especially water sources. This is a breeding ground for nasty bacteria that cause things like cholera and dysentery. Bad personal hygiene can lead to skin infections and other health problems that you'll have to treat with your limited medical supplies. Staying clean isn't a luxury. It's a vital part of staying healthy when the grid is down. The pro tip here is to have a system. For hand washing, stock up on soap and hand sanitizer. Even better, set up a hand washing station with a large water jug that has a spigot, a catch bucket, and soap. For human waste, the easiest solution is a bucket toilet. It's literally just a 5-gallon bucket with a snap-on toilet seat lid. You use heavy-duty trash bags as liners and add a scoop of kitty litter, sawdust, or peat moss after each use to control the smell. You'll need a lot of trash bags and a plan to dispose of the waste safely, far away from your home and any water sources. And of course, stockpile plenty of toilet paper, feminine hygiene products, toothbrushes, toothpaste, and disinfectants like bleach. Keeping yourself and your area clean is one of the best ways to stay healthy in a crisis. At number 8, we have shelter and warmth. Your body's core temperature is a hard rule. Exposure to the elements, whether it's freezing cold or just cold rain, can lead to hypothermia and kill you in hours. Even if your plan is to stay in your home, a disaster could damage it. A long power outage in the winter can turn your house into a giant refrigerator when the furnace stops working. This is critical because your body is always burning calories just to stay at 98.6 degrees. In a cold environment, you burn through those calories much faster, and if your body temperature starts to drop, your ability to think and function goes with it. You have to have a way to stay warm and dry no matter what. It's a fundamental survival need. The pro tip here is to think in layers. For personal warmth, get high-quality, cold-rated sleeping bags for everyone in your family, even if you never plan to go camping. A good sleeping bag can keep you alive inside a freezing house. Also, stock up on extra blankets, especially wool or fleece, because they insulate even when they get a little damp. Extra layers of clothing are key: thermal underwear, wool socks, hats, and gloves. For your home, have rolls of plastic sheeting and duct tape. You can use them to patch a broken window, seal off a single room to keep it warm, or even build a quick emergency shelter. A good tent can also be used inside the house. It creates a smaller space that traps body heat more effectively than trying to heat a whole room. And finally, have multiple ways to make fire. That means lighters, waterproof matches, and ferro rods. Fire gives you warmth, light, a way to boil water, and a massive psychological boost. Number 9 is a category that people often forget about, but it gives you incredible capability: tools. In a world where you can't just call a repairman or run to the hardware store, you are the repairman. The ability to fix things, build things, and solve problems with your hands becomes priceless. This could be anything from shutting off your utilities to clearing a fallen tree blocking your driveway. This is critical because disasters create problems that need to be solved. A gas leak after an earthquake needs to be shut off at the main. A broken door needs to be secured. Firewood needs to be cut. We've become a society of specialists, but in a crisis, you need to be a generalist. The right tools are force multipliers. They extend your ability to control your environment and keep your family safe. Without them, you're left trying to improvise, which is often inefficient and dangerous. The pro tip here is to build a well-rounded toolkit. It doesn't need to be a professional mechanic setup, but it should cover the bases. Start with a good multi-tool, like a Leatherman or Swiss Army knife that you can carry with you. At home, you absolutely need a utility shutoff tool for your gas and water mains. Have a basic set of wrenches, screwdrivers, and pliers. A claw hammer, a handsaw, a bow saw, and an axe are essential for basic repairs and processing firewood. A sturdy shovel and a pry bar have 1,000 different uses, and never ever underestimate the power of duct tape, zip ties, and good rope or paracord. Having these tools and knowing the basics of how to use them empowers you to be an active force in your own survival, not just a passive victim. Finally, at number 10, we have security and financial preparedness. It's an unfortunate truth, but a widespread disaster can bring out the absolute worst in some people. When the rule of law disappears and people get desperate, your home and all those supplies you've gathered can become a target. You need to have a plan to make your home a less appealing target and to defend your family if it comes to that. At the same time, the financial systems we depend on can freeze up. ATMs and credit card readers don't work without power and internet. This is a critical, if sensitive, topic. After your immediate survival needs are met, your physical security is the highest priority. All your prepping is worthless if someone can just walk in and take it all from you. This isn't just about active threats, it's about securing your home from opportunistic thieves. On the financial side, if you can't access your money, you can't buy things you might need, even if it's just from a neighbor who has something you don't. In a grid-down world, cash is king. The pro tip here is, for home security, start with the basics. Reinforce your doors by using longer screws in the strike plates. Get better locks. You can apply security film to your windows to make them much harder to break. Simple things like motion-activated solar lights and planting thorny bushes under windows can be great deterrents. When it comes to personal security, the best tool is the subject of endless debate. You must follow all the laws in your area, and whatever you choose, get proper training. Your most important tool, though, is your mind. Situational awareness and the will to protect your family are what matter most. For financial prep, you need to have cash at home, specifically in a mix of small bills. In a crisis, nobody is going to have change for a $100 bill. Having a stash of cash hidden safely lets you transact if you need to. Also, keep copies of all your important documents, IDs, birth certificates, deeds, insurance policies, bank records, in a waterproof and fireproof place or on an encrypted USB drive in your go-bag. So there it is, the 10 critical categories of items you should be stockpiling right now. Water, food, medical gear, cooking ability, light and power, communications, sanitation, shelter and warmth, tools, and security. Looking at this list can feel like a lot, I get it, but you don't have to do it all at once. Preparedness is a process. The key is just to start. The next time you go to the store, grab a few extra cans of food and another case of water. Pick up an extra pack of batteries or a manual can opener. The goal is to make it a regular habit, a part of your lifestyle. Every little thing you do makes your family that much more safe and resilient. The best time to start was yesterday. The next best time is right now. Don't wait until it's too late. What do you think of this list? What's the number one thing on your personal stockpile list that I might have missed? Let me know down in the comments. I read every single one. Stay safe and stay prepared.